I just kind of want to show you what I got going on in the studio, the hopes, the dreams, the current building blocks that we're putting down. I mean, I just want to show you guys really where we're at, and most importantly, I want to use this video as a point of reference for myself in the future. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to kind of show you guys, of course, is that we are working on mugs, per usual. I've been really bad about making my way into the studio and getting on the wheel. Been really bad about it. And sometimes, you know, you got to worry about things or whatever, and you don't get into the studio. But we got on the healing wheel last night, and look what we did. So sometimes, guys, although you might have everything in you telling you that you don't want to do something, and you just do it, you hit flow state. And when you hit that flow state, you feel so good. And here we are the next day drying out mugs. I'm going to get a little closer and kind of show you guys what I do with them. So I usually will leave them overnight after they're thrown on the board, and I'll close the door. I'll latch it so that it's fully stopped. And then by the time I come in the morning, they're ready to be flipped so that the bottoms can dry. And then after work, which is generally around 5 o'clock, I'll put a bag on them. But before I put the bags on them, I just wanted to show you guys that we had them. So these are what we were working on last night, and we'll trim them and put handles on there tomorrow. And I want to do a video on how I do handles, because I mean, maybe it's worth teaching somebody how I do it, and then maybe some of you can leave some useful comments explaining maybe how you do it, or maybe a link to another video. So the station has not changed, except we did employ a new cup. We had an S-crack on the bottom of this one, or hairline, and it leaked. So we have a new cup for throwing stuff. We graduated from this one, which was from the first batch of mugs ever. This one. Still have not moved our shelf. We have to get this done at some point soon. We have to move this shelf because it needs more room for boards. So my theory is that we put it over here and I move my apron area. So that way I have room for the boards. Because if you'll notice, I sit here. So if I was to put boards, I'd just be encroaching on my space. But another thing I wanted to show you guys is I recently went to the Blick outlet in Galesburg, and I only had one Brent splash pan, but I got a second one and a third one. The combination of these two splash pans, both of them together, 30 bucks. When I originally bought mine, the cheapest price that I could find was 100 bucks. So I have 3 splash pans now to rotate between, which is fabulous. We got our chuck collection here, which if you don't know what a chuck is, it's basically just a piece of clay thrown in such a way that you can trim a piece on top of it. So that way you center that, and then you can trim on it. And it makes it so you don't have to center every piece. So it's nice for production. Moving on here. We still have to get our video made for our reclaim. As you can see, I have a crap ton of clay here. All these are full of clay slurry, which could be mixed together and then dried on plaster. But we're gonna have to do that video soon, because clay isn't super cheap. It's cheap enough, but we got about probably 200 pounds, if not more, right here that could just be reclaimed and used, with the addition of that bucket over there and this one. So tons of clay that could be being used. We still have made 0 progress on our Artista. The only part we need is a new control board. If we replace that, Artista support has confirmed that it should work. Again, that's another video we'll do. But as of right now, the Artista is not spinning. It does get power. It does light up, so we know that it's getting power. but it's not working yet. So then, of course, we got our glaze haul right here that we acquired from the Blick yard sale, the charity yard sale. You need to do it once a year, and during the yard sale, they sell tons of art, equipment, and materials for dirt cheap. One pink sticker means $1. So we pretty much got about 100 different glazes, or 100 glazes entirely here, for basically less than $100. A lot of it was, cents on the dollar, some of it. We additionally have this glaze and this glaze. So what's next on the to-do list? We need to scrub our shelves. As you can see, there is some glaze on the shelf, and we need to mix up some kiln wash. Basically this powdery substance with water. We'll paint it on there, and it protects the shelf from running glazes that were piled on too thick. So we will get to that very, very soon. The next thing we need to do is vacuum out the kiln. As you can see, we've been firing away. We've been firing away in here a little bit. We also need to repin some of the elements. As you can see, some of these elements are popping out here, and that's an issue. So the bottom one, that's missing a brick, so we can't do anything about that. But we can certainly repin some of these. Maybe I can even make a video on how to pin elements. Who knows? So what do we got going on over here? So right now, these are all mugs that I have thrown and handled, and they are ready to just dry. I think there's maybe like 15 there, maybe a little less, 12. But we will dry those slowly and then bisque those with the ones that we're drying in here. So yeah. I also wanted to make note that my seconds pile is getting rather large, and we're gonna have to do something about this soon. Should I smash it? Should I crash it? Should I use this for test tiles? I don't really want to do that because I prefer my number system here with these, but maybe I could do more test tiles with these. Maybe you guys can let me know. Would that be something we'd be interested in? Also, a lot of these didn't turn out right. They're just kind of ugly. Ideally, what I should have done is wiped off this Celadon glaze. That's the gray. And then just left this like bare clay with that. It would have been a little extra work, but I think it really would have made a big difference for these. So we'll do another 7,500 dogs here soon, and I'm gonna make sure that I don't leave the Celadon on like that. I really thought I'd get a different result than this. I've used this glaze a ton of times, and it usually doesn't pool up that much. So I was a little disappointed by the Celadon charcoal. We also need to get some hardware for the bongs. Unfortunately, a lot of websites like Amazon don't ship to Illinois, so I won't be able to order parts for these there. The Feeling Groovy people in Peoria have some pieces that I could buy, like a downstem, the grommet, and then the bull, but I'm looking at perhaps maybe $15 per unit, and that's a little high. So I'm trying to figure out where I could buy like a large quantity of the same thing for like a cheaper price. So I'm gonna look into that. And then we have mugs here. These are the remaining mugs that are left to be sold, that aren't at Opie's Bar and Grill. So we'll get those ones going soon. I just really want to have like a large batch of mugs so that I can offer them to people and then not be out when people ask. So we'll get to making more mugs, but for right now we have a lot going on in the studio and we are procrastinating super hard. We got a lot we need to do. We need to buy this piece, we need to fix this wheel, get it out of the way. We need shelving for the glazes, these and those, and then also additionally the gallons in the back and the bucket. We need to get a firing going for these and these in the next week or two. We need to get rid of all of these seconds here in some way, shape, or form. but I could really use the space. And we need to figure out what we're going to use for the hardware for the bongs. And we need to do all these test tiles, which I think I have another 50 here. So we need to glaze these so that I can see what things look like, especially now considering the fact that I have, you know, well over 100 different glazes. Maybe not different, all of them, but definitely more than 50 different glazes. And I don't even know what some of them look like. So it'd definitely be nice to have some tiles to kind of demonstrate that for me. So what else do we have here? I think that's about it. Right now we got some cleaning to do. We got to empty out these buckets. We got to do some towels, including those ones. And we need to clean our splash pans. I want those to be clean. Now that I have a rotation set, I see no reason why I should always not be removing it and wiping my wheel down. I've had a really bad habit of just like leaving the splash pan on there and just like wiping it up and calling it a day. But you really don't clean underneath it, which is kind of a bummer. So yeah, definitely something to think about. Also, as far as some tools that might be useful, sponge on a stick. I actually bought one recently from Blick. That's like, oh, a sponge on a stick made for ceramics. It's got this little bolt in here and then a sponge, and it's on like a paintbrush. It's wobbly as fuck, dude. This is the biggest, shittiest pain in the ass, and the sponge is like too much. So instead of using one of these that's made for ceramics, I would suggest buying you a dowel rod for like $1 and then like a car sponge. Like, see that? That was just something I bought at People's. And then I just ripped a chunk off of it and zip tied it on there. Best. This doesn't come off. Super slender. I got a couple different sizes. I got another one right there and then a couple outside. So yeah, make you a zip tie dowel rod thing. That was so easy, and that's like the best tool I have. And then this is a Buffalo Trace whiskey cork, but you can use any cork. And a safety pin, or in my case it's a push pin. And then every time I go to the eye doctor, I get a free like rag for my glasses, like a microfiber or whatever. And these are perfect for your rims. So you just let this float around in your water, and then once your mug's done, you just like rest this wet chamois over the rim, and it curls it over real nice. So something you guys should consider making, because they're pretty fucking sweet. But anyway, we got a lot of cleaning to do. We got wood to chop. Got a lot going on. One thing that I was thinking about making was this cute little whistling mug, or whistling sake glass. So for my Secret Santa present for a friend of mine, I got him a whistling sake decanter, and along with that was a set of these whistling cups as well. So I do really want to learn to make the whistling sake decanter, and also I'm extremely interested in like the Peruvian gluggle jugs as well. Which, if you're not familiar with what a gluggle jug is, it's a jug that when you pour the water or wine or what have you out of the jug, it gluggles. It makes a sound like an organic, like a creature. So I'm really interested in making these like acoustic instruments, if you will, out of clay. But I'm really excited about these little sake cups, because when you take your sip of sake, there's a little surprise with every drink. So you take your shot of sake or whatever, and it whistles back at you. And I think this is fabulous, but we need to learn how this works. I've been looking all over YouTube, so it's been really hard for me to find an interesting video that actually would help me to make something like this. I'm basically not seeing anybody making these cups, or even the sake decanters. I saw maybe one video on a gluggle jug, but as far as these like really fantastic instruments, I haven't seen anybody taking the time to make these items. So we'll be working on the gluggle jug, we'll be working on the whistling sake decanter, and we'll be working on the whistling sake cup, or tea bowl, if you will. So the biggest thing here is we need to learn to make a whistle. I've played around with making whistles in the past at college and at home as well, and I've been very much unsuccessful with this, and especially making a whistle on such a small scale. This cup is very small. This is a very, 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 very tiny cup. As you can see, it's very small. So I don't know how we're gonna get there, but I know we will. And that'll be a video too. I just want to thank you guys so much for following, if you have been, especially the studio update videos. I know not much happens in between each one, but it's useful for me, and I hope that maybe it's entertaining for you guys in some way, even if maybe you're just somebody who knows me, keeping up with what I got going on in the studio, or if you're an absolute stranger or just a subscriber that doesn't personally know me but is interested in the journey. And if that's the case too, like, I'd love to know what you guys think about the videos. I'd love to hear if you have any specific feedback, and I'd love to know if there's videos of things that you guys do want to see. I have a lot of plans. I have a lot of aspirations with this channel, and I really want to build this community. So if you guys have anything that you want to see, let me know. Should I maybe start live streaming the throwing content? I've been thinking about doing that, setting up maybe a computer down here, and then streaming the throwing on Twitch, and then maybe just conversing with chat while I make things. You know, I'm just looking for ideas, and I really think that, you know, the community's been great so far. I've been getting really good feedback, but I'd love to hear more from you guys. I definitely want to build this up, and I feel like we're doing a good job so far. So I want to say thank you so much if you are subscribed, and if you're not, I would very much appreciate it if you did consider subscribing. And again, I just want to thank you so much for being part of my community, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. So thanks a lot, and bye.